We've now seen how to use variable to store string, integer, floating point, boolean, and array data types. But what else can we store in a variable? Well, the truth is you can use variable to store practically any data type, including expressions, functions, which we'll discuss in a chapter dedicated to functions, and even objects. Objects are outside of the scope of this course, as it's a more advanced topic. It will be covered in a future series when we discuss object-oriented PHP programming. Now, one thing you have probably noticed is that I've misspelled boolean here. It should be O-L-E-A-N. Now, we are going to remove everything inside of this file, so let's just select everything, hit delete, and let's start with the opening PHP tag. Expressions, by expressions what I mean is basically anything that combines more than one value together. Basically, it may be some mathematical expression like deducting, adding, multiplying, dividing, or simply string concatenation or anything similar to that. So let's have a look at the new variable called years, and let's see how many years there are between 2014, let's say, minus, we're gonna use here 1970. We want to know what's the difference between these two years. And now if we simply echo, and let's wrap it within the paragraph tag, and then echo on a new line, number of years between 1970 and 2014 is, and then let's do this space so that the number isn't really attached to this S letter here, and then echo our years variable, and then echo closing paragraph. Now if we preview the page in a browser, refresh it, number of years between 1970 and 2014 is 44. As you can see, simple expression, we've just deducted the earlier date from the later date, and that result is now stored inside of this years variable. Let's now try another one, and I'm just going to override this one. I'm going to call it number, not number, it's going to be minutes in 30 days. And this time the expression will be, we're going to use brackets, because first we want to multiply 30 days, so number 30, multiplying, so the star symbol, and now we're going to use 24 because each day has 24 hours, and now we are going to multiply all this by 60 because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So this is going to give us the precise number of minutes in 30 days. So if we just copy this variable here to this echo line, and we obviously need to change the sentence here. Let's change it to there are, and then space. Then we have minutes in 30 days, and echo, space again after the number, obviously, minutes in 30 days. And we can put a full stop here as well, and semicolon. And if we now preview it in a browser, let's quickly jump to the browser, refresh it, and there are 43,200 minutes in 30 days. Okay, so that works fine. So as you can see, using expressions is as easy as assigning any other data type to the variable. Let's now remove this and have a look at another example. We've been discussing floating point. But one thing I haven't mentioned actually about the floating point is that if you are using floating point that contains a null after the decimal, then it's only going to display the full value in terms of obviously if it's say 2. Let's just have a look at the example. So weight equals 2.00. That's only 2 kilos, obviously, even though we have this 2 zeros after decimal point. When we are actually going to echo this on the page, it's only going to give us 2. So let's have a look at that. Echo weight, and if we now save it, preview it in the browser, refresh, as you can see there are no decimal points because the decimal simply is null. If we go back to the editor and change it to say 0, 1, now if we go back to the browser and refresh it, now is when we're actually seeing the decimal point. So you have to remember about this, obviously, that if you want to see decimals, there has to be some value. If it's null, it's not going to be displayed. There are ways of forcing decimal points even if it's null, but we'll discuss this later on when we're looking at the functions, the built-in functions like round and number format. But let's not go ahead of ourselves. We will discuss this later on. So let's go back to the editor again. And now one of the most important features of variables is its ability to have its value overwritten. So if we now have a look at the name variable, for instance, the new variable which you're creating, and let's put your own name. Obviously, I'm going to put my name, so Sebastian Soliński. And now I'm simply echoing this name, and then I'm going to use the same name, the same variable name, and I'm going to change it to someone else. And if I echo this name after that, once I've overwritten the value associated with this variable, let's save it and have a look at what the outcome is in the browser. As you can see, we've got first time that I've obviously associated my name with the name variable and then echoed it. We got my name, but then when I've overwritten it, the new value is associated with the variable, and obviously, fair enough, when we echo this name variable, it's going to give us this new name basically. So what was associated with the variable originally is now overwritten and can no longer be retrieved, unless what we're going to do. Let's have a look at this. What I'm going to do, I use the first name, and I'm using now a variable, and I'm associating variable with it. So name, and now if I use echo first name, we can still use the name we've used originally, because we now have associated this variable, the original name variable, with another variable basically. So we basically use another variable to associate its original value. So if we now save it, go back to the browser, refresh it, you can see first my name, then someone else's name, and then my name again, which comes from the initial name variable. So that's how you can work with the variables, obviously with the overwriting, and obviously then trying to keep the original value within another variable, and so on. So now let's have a look at how we can use variables within a string, how we can concatenate string with the variables together.